So fine, let us start with it right with the training right now. Right, a little brief introduction is already done. I have covered the course FAQs. Right, now what is the brief history of Selenium? What is the future of this tool? Where this tool is going, and what all prospects you can have if you learn it. Okay, this is one of the major questions everyone has before actually investing time and money on this tool. Okay, right, and should I learn this tool? Won't it get obsolete in the market or something? Right, look, if I talk about the history of Selenium first, okay, right, when like I worked on this tool way back for the first time, right, there were various components of this tool. Okay, there were three components initially, right. One was known as Selenium RC, one is still used, it's known as Selenium IDE, and one is known as Grid. Okay, now IDE, talking about IDE, it's a very simple tool. It's an add-in in Mozilla. It only works on Mozilla. So, sorry for the mistake, spelling mistake. Works in Mozilla. It will generate no reports, nothing. Okay, it can help you automate your test, but it's not a professional tool. If you have got 1000 test cases, you can never use Selenium IDE. It will generate no reports for you, nothing. Okay, so what we do is that, right, we used to use Selenium RC. Selenium RC could work in multiple browsers, it could generate reports and all everything, but a tester had to learn basic language, like languages like Java, C#, PHP, Ruby, okay, Python. Any one of these languages was learned by the developer to actually work on Selenium RC. Okay, although the results were very nice, the reports used to get generated, you used to parameterize the test cases, that means read the data from Excel files and all that stuff used to be there. Okay, and grid was used to actually run the test cases parallelly. You used to set up a centralized hub machine, and with that you used to connect various other machines and run the test cases parallelly. Okay, and this setup is known as the grid setup. Okay, it reduces the execution time. If you have got 30,000 test cases and you using grid, you can seriously bring down the execution time like anything. Okay, right, now what used to happen was that in Selenium RC there were many drawbacks. Like in Selenium RC, a simple drawback was that you used to start a command prompt, and from the command prompt you used to start the server, and what used to happen was that many times the server never got started. Okay, so you used to end up logging off from your system and logging in back, and it used to create a lot of issues. So in 2011, somewhere around August 2011, okay, WebDriver came in the market. It's also known as Selenium 2.0. Okay, and this could also work on multiple browsers, do everything, right, but it had got various advanced commands inside it. Okay, few things which were very difficult to do in RC could be done very easily with WebDriver. I am not going into the details of those things, but you can say that WebDriver was a very enhanced form. It is not that RC code was converted to WebDriver. No, both of them are completely different tools. People who have worked on Selenium RC, when they look at the WebDriver code, they are not able to understand it. Or people who have worked on WebDriver, when they look at RC, they are not able to understand it. You as an end user, you can directly start working on WebDriver. There is no need to learn Selenium RC. It's obsolete now, it's done, and it's gone way back. Only the companies which have their scripts already developed in RC are still using it. Otherwise all the new development work is done in WebDriver. Okay, Selenium IDE is still there, people do use it. If you have a very small project of 1 to 2 pages, you can use IDE, and Grid has converted to Grid 2. these days, where it supports WebDriver as well. Right, so our major focus in that training is to cover Java, WebDriver, frameworks. Okay, we will talk about integration tools like Jenkins. Right, we will also talk about tools like Maven and Ant, and we will also talk about Grid, that how do you run the test cases parallelly on Grid. Okay, right. So now where is this tool going and what are the future prospects of this tool? Okay, if you have decided to learn this, then what are the number of jobs, and are the jobs increasing or decreasing? Right, I'll give 5 minutes to that as well. Okay, look, for example, a new tool has come up in the market. It's known as Appium. Appium is a tool for mobile automation. Okay, Selenium is a tool for web automation. Okay, Selenium can only automate your web-based application. Okay, it will not automate any desktop-based application like a calculator or something. It's only for web-based. Based on Selenium, a new tool has been made known as Appium, which uses Selenium libraries, and it is used for automating mobile applications as well as browsers and mobile. Right, so if you learn this tool, then learning Appium also becomes easy. Then if you move towards the web services side, for example, a tool like SoapUI, which is used for web services. I will not explain what web services are, but there is a lot of demand for web services testing as well. So if you learn Selenium, then learning SoapUI also becomes easy, because you get that programming knack in you, and once you get that knack, once you get that understanding, learning many tools, even learning QTP or JMeter, okay, for load testing or load runner as well, you will be able to pick these tools very fast, because you get a programming knowledge, you get a little knack and idea. Okay, secondly, if you talk about the job opportunities in the market and all, in any market, right, if you go to the website, say dice.com, this is a very famous job website in US. In India, you can decide to go to, say, naukri.com or any website. Okay, and on this website you just search for jobs on Selenium. Okay, and if you find the number of jobs, right, you will see that you have found nearly, hold on, I hope my voice is clear to everyone. If it is breaking, then you can let me know. Okay, so there are nearly 1300 jobs for Selenium, right? But if you search for jobs on QTP or UFT, they also call it UFT these days, so there are nearly 550 jobs. So Selenium has got better requirements. Fine. If you would have searched this around 4-5 years back, then the equation used to be the other way around. Selenium used to have 500 to 600 jobs, and QTP used to have around 1100 to 1200. So the graph for Selenium is increasing, and this tool is going to stay in the market. I am very sure about it, because it's an open source tool. You don't have to pay anyone for this. Okay, right. Now moving ahead, what are the prerequisites to learn this tool? Obviously you should know Java. Okay, I hope everyone has installed JRE, right? You should also install JDK on your machine. Okay, just go to Google and type download JDK. Look, this is the first class. It might look very simple to many of you because you already know stuff. Okay, but as we proceed with the course, with the concepts of object-oriented programming and all, things will get easy for you as well, and you will learn a lot of things. So just bear with me, because a lot of people from different backgrounds have joined this training. Some of them are absolutely new, right? So install the complete Java development kit from this link, right? Go to this JDK and install it from here. Okay, accept the license depending on your Windows, install it, right? And the next thing is getting Eclipse, right? You go to Google and download Eclipse. I hope many of you would be having Eclipse, right? Eclipse is the IDE for uh, developing applications or developing Java based applications, right? And Eclipse, you have to download Luna. This is a better one. Okay, download Eclipse Luna, right? So that every student who's in the training is on the same level, right? So you can download the Luna version, and if you don't have Luna, if you're working with something else, that's fine, right? So you can download it from this website, from the download link. Eclipse comes as a bundle, fine. When you hold on, right, when you open the zip file, you will get all these files and all, and you can start the exe file for Eclipse if you want, right? Hold on, I am having it in my just a minute. Okay, actually I just changed the location. Yeah, this is Eclipse in my PC, fine. And I'll just start Eclipse. Let me close the earlier one which I had opened. Hold on. Right, so it comes as a bundle. You click on exe, it will launch, and this is the workspace launcher path. It will show the place where you'll store all the working code and all. Okay, so I'll just call it as June weekday 2016. This is our batch. So on my PC, all the code, whatever coding we do in our batch, will be stored at this location, right? And make sure you have installed JDK for Eclipse. At times people don't install it and they face problems. Now, the very mistake which most of the people do while learning Selenium is that they don't concentrate on Java. Java is important. Everything, each and every line of code of Selenium WebDriver will be written in Java. And what you need to learn in Java are the concepts of object-oriented programming. Right, I am assuming, as I told you, you know what if statement is, you know what for loop is. Okay, right. Why do you need to learn object-oriented programming concepts? Right, because if you go to the official website of Selenium, okay, the official website of Selenium is seleniumhq.org, right? Over here, the first line is Selenium automates browser, so it's only for web-based applications. Okay, you go to the download section, and over here you will have the client version released and bindings, right? For the Java, this is the Java doc. Java doc means the documentation of Selenium, right? This is the official documentation of Selenium. We will be using this a lot. To understand this documentation, you should know object-oriented programming. If you don't know, it's a big problem. Okay, so our major goal is to start off with the object-oriented programming over here. Fine. So what I will do is that I will close this welcome screen in Eclipse. Fine. Make a new project. Okay, select Java project over here. If you don't see that, you can scroll down, and under Java you can see Java project. Okay, click on next and call the project as day 1. Right, now click on yes and hold on. Right, so this is the project which I've just made. If I expand it, I see two things: source folder and JRE system library. This JRE system library is nothing but Java which was installed in your machine. Eclipse automatically detects that Java. Okay, all the Java files and all which I'll be making, I'll be storing them in the source folder. Okay, for example, I'll make a new Java file known as, say, basics.java. Fine, with the main function, public static void main. I'll stick on this checkbox. Main function is the part of every programming language. Okay, hold on, I'll increase the font size. Just a minute. Just hold on. Right, so Fine. So this is basics.java. Main function is the part of every programming language. You take up C, C++ or C sharp, anything. You'll always find this is the starting point. What is static? How is static used? We'll come over to all those things. So just accept few things as they are. Right. As I told you, I am assuming you know basic things. What integer is, what string is, right? How to print something in Java. You just type system.out.println hello there. So this is the command system.out.println to print something in Java. The shortcut is SYSO and then hit the control spacebar of the keyboard. Okay, right, and it will come up. Fine. You can run this program from this icon on the top, run as. When you click on it, it will execute, and at the bottom console you will see hello there written. Fine. This is the package explorer on the left hand side where you will be seeing all the projects and all. Okay, one quick thing guys, a problem which everyone faces by mistake. Sometimes people, they close the package explorer and then they actually try to figure out fine where has it gone, and then they ask me, look, you can bring it back. You can go to window, show view, and you will see the package explorer over here. You can bring it back. Sometimes you close the console by mistake and then you don't know how to bring it back. You can again go to window, show view, console, and it will come over. Okay, right. Now if you right click on the project and go to the properties of the project, okay, you will see all these options over here. Fine. When you right click on the project, you will see many options. We'll be using those. Okay, the properties option is also one important option. These are the project properties. This is the path where project is lying on your hard drive under the workspace. Okay, if I go to this path, then you have all these folders and files over here, out of which only source folder is visible to me in Eclipse. In Eclipse you can only match the source folder. Okay, if I open this source folder, I will have the basics.java file which I can open in Notepad as well. Okay, now important thing is that in Java, when the program compiles, right, a class file is generated for every Java file. In the bin folder you will see basics.class file. Okay, if I edit it, you will not be able to understand anything. Every Java file is converted to a class file. This class file is like an executable file. You can deliver it to the client and he can run it and get the output as well. Okay, if I make another Java program, fine, if I just make a new class known as temp.java, and if I make another program, right, and I just type inside it Selenium, and if I run it, right, it will print Selenium, and in your bin folder of Eclipse you will find temp.class file. So every Java file is converted to a class file at runtime, at compile time, sorry, right, and it will actually, this class file will actually be executed. You can deliver these to your client. What happens is that in a project there are many class files which get generated, and you have to deliver all these class files to the client. So what we do is that we bundle all these class files in a single file. That single file is known as a jar file. Jar file is nothing but a collection of many class files, and these class files are then delivered to the client, and you just give the client a single jar file having all the classes. For example, this is JRE system library. There are many jar files under it. You see that? These jars, they come over to your PC when you install Java. Okay, right, and it's got many inbuilt features. Each of these jars, if you expand it, you will get many class files under each of these jar files. All these are pre-built classes in Java which you can use. What I mean by that is that if I write over here, for example, date d equals to new date. Now what do you mean by date d equals to new date? I will talk about that later on. Just take this as it is right now, okay, and import the date class, right, from one of the jar files. So date class is present in one of the jar files, okay. So if I just write over here system.out.println d and I run the program, I get the current date and time, everything. So from my side, I never had to do anything. Okay, it's not an effort from my side. I never wrote a program which could calculate the date time and give it to you. I just used an internal feature, an internal date class inside Java, which is present in one of these jar files inside the package java.util.date. Okay, so it can be maybe this file. It is somewhere inside this. Okay, for example, this is the java.util package, and inside it you will see this date.class file. You see that? Right. So it's quite you can say easy. It makes the work easy. The functionalities are pre-built, and this is what happens in Selenium as well. It's not a rocket science. You need to know the pre-built features inside Selenium. All the commands are inbuilt. You don't need to invent something. Okay, you need to learn the existing commands. Alright, fine. Selenium has got its own set of jar files. For example, Java had its own set of jar files, right? These were the jar files of Selenium, Java. So similarly, Selenium has also got its own set of jar files which are provided by Selenium website. Okay, you can go to the seleniumhq.org website and go to the download section, and under that you will find the download option for the jar files for Selenium. Okay, you can download from here. When you download them, you will get just a minute. Yeah, get a folder like this. Okay, and inside it, when you extract the folder, okay, guys, let's just keep your microphones on mute. If you have to ask a question, you can unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, you can keep them on mute because we are recording this session. Okay, so over here you have got two jar files, Selenium Java 2.53.0. This is the main jar file. This jar file, the second one, sources jar, this is not required. Actually, this jar file contains the source code of Selenium. Selenium is open source, anybody can download. Okay, so you don't have to worry that how will you download I mean to say that if you have to do some changes in Selenium source code, you can do that, but we hardly do that. We don't do that like that. So this is the main jar file, and under the library folder there are many other dependent jar files of Selenium. Okay, so you need to import all these jars into Eclipse project to make the Eclipse project Selenium enabled. Fine. So to do that, what you do is that you right click on the project and go to the properties and go to Java build path and go to the libraries tab. Fine. There are various tabs in Java build path. Go inside the libraries tab, click on add external jars, and you can navigate to the location where you had downloaded the jars and include this jar file. This is very important. Okay, and then click on add external jars, include all the jars inside the lib folder. If you don't do this, your program will not work. Okay, right. So when you do this, you will have the reference library section generated. Under that you will have all the jar files for Selenium. Okay, make sure you are in the Java perspective out here, then only you will see this reference library section. If you don't see the Java perspective, you can select this open perspective option in Eclipse. Fine, and you can select Java from there. Okay, right. Now moving ahead, your project is now Selenium enabled. You can use the inbuilt commands of Selenium. For example, I write over here new Firefox driver. Okay, Firefox driver is a class in Selenium which will actually help you automate on Firefox. Okay, when you move your mouse over it, you will get the option to import it as well. Okay, and when you run this program, you will see that a blank Firefox opens up. Okay, now hold on. You see that? So you never wrote any code to open the Firefox or something. Everything is automated, right? Everything, there is a command fixed for every action. Fine. So you don't have to worry that how will I open Firefox, take it to a website or click on a link. All those commands are inbuilt. What you need to worry about is you need to worry about learning object oriented programming, and that's what the next step is. Okay, learn object oriented programming. Only then we can use Selenium. Okay, yes, for every project you create, you have to add those jar files from here. Okay, every project is supposed to have its own set of jar files. Alright, fine. So now the next thing, okay, the next thing as I was talking was that you need to learn the concepts of object oriented programming. Without learning, you cannot work with Selenium. Alright, fine. So anybody with any questions till now? Feel free to ask questions. Anything, like this is the first class. Generally people have a lot of doubts in the first class. Okay, there's a question being asked about continuous integration. Okay, Jenkins. Yes, I will be covering Jenkins in the class. Okay, it will be covered. It's a continuous integration tool. Fine. And when I do the frameworks, after the frameworks, I'll be covering that. Fine. You can type your question on the WebEx chat. It is visible to me. Fine. Right.
Yeah, Ashish. One quick question that I know that you added the external jar, right?
Yes.
But when I also see that you say that you will be covering Maven.
Yes.
And when we cover Maven, then we will do it different way, right?
Yes, we'll do it different. Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right.
In Maven we use pom.xml from which the jar files get downloaded from the centralized repositories. Okay, so this is another question. Are we going to work only on TestNG, not JUnit in this class? Look, JUnit and TestNG are testing frameworks. Okay, right. First let me tell you what a framework is overall. Okay, then I'll answer this question. Right, look, what happens is that when you build a project, your manager comes and tells you that fine, these are 100 test cases, you have to automate. Fine. So what you do is that you build your WebDriver scripts. Okay, these are your WebDriver scripts. Okay, say test case 1, test case 2, right, test case 3, test case 4. Fine. And you would want to run them in a certain order. Okay, or you would want to skip any test case at random. You would want that your execution should be in such a way that if I want to selectively run the test cases, I just want to run TC1 and TC4, you can run it. Or you would want that you want to execute the tests parallelly. So you have got various options when you are running the test cases. You want to run them serially, you want to run them optionally, and sometimes you also want to run them parallelly. Fine. Okay. Along with running, what you want is that you want to generate reports. Reports can be HTML reports, extent reports, HTML, Excel reports, whatever it is. Okay, in the reports you would also want that logs should be coming, screenshots should be coming. Okay, for example, the reports which I just showed you, these are extent reports. Okay, for every test case you have got the complete thing that I'm starting this test case, this is the data of the test, I'm opening the application, then you actually execute one keyword at a time and you get the result and all everything, and in the end you get the screenshot as well and the test case has passed, right? Proper reports which tell you with the logs that what happened at every time, each and every moment when the test was running. So you would want something like this as well, right? Then you would want that your data should be read from an Excel file or a properties file, right? Then you would want to integrate the project with Jenkins. You would want to use Maven in the project, you would want to use Ant. This is a little gray area for most of the people, so just ignore that right now. I'll cover that. Okay, now Selenium as a tool is only over here in the blue box. Selenium will only interact with the browser. It will never generate reports, it will never read data. There is nothing in Selenium which will help you to do that or coordinate to do that. Selenium will never run the tests, invoke the tests parallelly and all, okay, or run the test cases optionally or in a batch, nothing. Okay, what we do is that to actually achieve all these things we use a centralized controller. This controller is known as a TestNG framework or a JUnit framework, or people also use BDD, Cucumber and Fitness. A lot of tools are there. Okay, right. So what these frameworks they do, they act like a centralized controller. They generate the reports, screenshots, read the data from Excel file, help you coordinate with Maven, and right, they invoke the test cases in a certain order or in serial order or in parallel order. They can help you run the test cases optionally as well. Okay, so TestNG, JUnit, Cucumber, all these things they do this. Okay, now in this training we will be taking TestNG, we will not be taking JUnit. The reason for that is there are few reasons that TestNG is more famous with Selenium. Lot of companies have actually started using TestNG with Selenium. The reason being that you can generate better reports in TestNG. It's got more features than JUnit, and when you have to run the test cases parallelly, then TestNG gives you very good options. Okay, and it's very easy to invoke the test cases parallelly with TestNG along with Grid. You use Grid then, right? So that's why the market has switched over to TestNG. If you want to learn JUnit, then you can learn it from the pre-recorded videos as well. In the module number 8, right, JUnit is covered. Fine. I cannot take both of them in the class because it will be very prolonged then, right? So you can go to my website QTP Selenium, and once you log in into your account, in the video number 8 I have covered JUnit framework. Okay, so this is what, and another question was being asked is, hold on, I'll copy the questions. This reference libraries needs to be downloaded only one time or updates to run a program or to the existing jars. Look, you have to download the jars one time and include them in the project. Okay, suppose you want to improve the version later on, you can remove the jars as well from this remove icon, and you can then add more jars which are probably the latest ones. Okay, right. Okay, there's another question that do we get support if we are stuck somewhere? Yes, we do help out people. We have a team. Once you log in into your account, you will get a forum link. You can post the questions on the forum as well, right? or you can reach me on Skype. I am generally online in the morning Indian time, and after 8 p.m. Indian time I'm online. I'll respond back. So right, fine. So anybody with any other question? Right. So the next thing is going over to the concepts of OOPS. Right. I'll do that tomorrow. You will be getting the invitation for tomorrow's class as well. And today was basically an introductory class. This happens in the first class. Okay. So the real work will start from tomorrow. Fine. And you will get a new invitation for the same time. Fine. Okay. There's a question being asked. If you want, I can tell you on Sauce Labs. Very few people have the requirements for Sauce Labs. Okay. So yes, you will get these recorded sessions as well, Saswat. The current session I have recorded. You will get that recorded session on your email. Okay, you will get that recorded session. Fine.